Canelo or Crawford?
It's tricky. I want Crawford to win, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. You know, I would like for that to happen, but this guy's a hard puncher. He's a smart fighter. He can move. I'm just curious. I just want to see it. I want to be there to see it.
It was like, this is a ridiculous fight. He states that Terence Crawford moving up 2 weight classes.
I wasn't really I just didn't like the fact that Terence Crawford had to go up 2 weight classes. I just didn't really like that.
Mike Tyson shares his blunt view on Terence Crawford stepping up to face Canelo Alvarez. Tyson says Terence doesn't have to take this fight because he is already a legend with nothing left to prove. He explains that moving up against a naturally bigger fighter is risky and could damage Crawford's legacy instead of building it. For Tyson, weight classes exist for a reason, and ignoring them tilts the odds heavily. He respects Crawford's talent, but insists the smarter move is protecting what he has already achieved. Mike Tyson criticizes a proposed fight.
I just don't think it's a good idea. You know, I don't think, what would he have? I don't know. I just don't think it's a good idea. People have done things crazy like that before. It's just that he doesn't have to do it. He doesn't have to do it.
You posted the other day, there's a picture of you in a Rolls Royce, and you said, the quote is, "I can't remember how many of these I gave away."
Canelo or Crawford?
It's tricky. I want Crawford to win, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. You know, I would like for that to happen, but this guy's a hard puncher. He's a smart fighter. He can move. I'm just curious. I just want to see it. I want to be there to see it. Because listen, there's been upsets like that before. You know, Henry Armstrong, 124 pounds, he beat the 146-pound champ. So, you know, you never know. Anything can happen when 2 men are in a ring or in a basketball court.
Calling it ridiculous because weight classes exist to protect fighters. He highlights that the size difference between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez is simply too great to overlook. For Tyson, such a matchup is risky and unfair, overshadowing Crawford's true accomplishments. Tyson says he doesn't like the idea at all, warning that moving up against a naturally larger fighter creates unfair risks. While he respects Crawford,
we're calling out Canelo.
You know, I don't like that fight.
Why not?
I don't like that fight. It's just too much weight, you know. And he had a close fight with the last guy he fought, Terence, because this guy was big and he was awkward. He was really awkward. He shouldn't have fought that guy. He should have fought a guy that would just come straight at him. The guy was too awkward.
He's herky-jerky. Yeah.
Or one of them.
Yeah.
See, it's a missing art.
9 wins by way of knockout. And Mike Tyson, he feels like this is a ridiculous fight. He states that Terence Crawford moving up 2 weight classes is a ridiculous fight, and that he's just simply too small, and he's going to lose, and lose bad. He feels like he didn't want to say it, but he hinted around he's going to get knocked out, right? He thinks that, you know, Terence Crawford has skills, he's talented, but he just feels like there's weight class for a reason. Like many people in the sport of boxing, they feel like it's weight classes for a reason. And so, you know, he's not the first person to feel this way. But my thoughts is this. Should Terence Crawford be victorious, as I expect him to, the hype train for Terence Crawford's legacy only gets bigger. Because there's so many people that are doubting Terence Crawford's ability to beat Canelo Alvarez because of the size, right? They feel like this is David and Goliath. And that story, that mythical story, is so big and so legendary is because of the size difference. You had the small little guy, you know, slaying the giant, right? It's just not supposed to happen. And so this just bolsters the myth of Terence Crawford.
Tyson believes this matchup is unnecessary and could hurt rather than help his legacy. Bay, a respected figure in boxing circles, offered his perspective on how Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez prepare for their biggest fights. He compared the sparring environments of both fighters, highlighting the intensity, variety, and consistency in their camps. According to Bay, Canelo has long been known for surrounding himself with strong sparring partners who mirror the style of upcoming opponents. His team carefully crafts sessions to expose weaknesses and prepare for different fight scenarios. Crawford, on the other hand, builds his reputation on adaptability and sharp technical adjustments. But Bay questioned whether his sparring adequately reflects the challenge of moving up in weight to face a seasoned and naturally larger champion like Canelo.
Well, Canelo got a world champion right now in his camp with him with Boots. Well, Boots vacated.
Shakur, though.
Yeah, well, I don't know how much Shakur adds to this. He's a southpaw, and he's a smaller guy. I think that's just sharp brain. That's like if Boots was boxing Celine. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, I'm boxing him. My young boy nice, but he don't pertain to the fight necessarily. But everybody don't train like that anyway. Everybody don't look for to have all of these sparring partners be like identical or in the same realm of the person they fighting. Some people, they spar like for sharp minds, so they'll just try to have the best people they can have. So you never know what Bomac and them strategy is right there.
As far as stylistically, who do you feel like has the advantage heading into that? Well, I'm just looking at the sparring partners.
From the sparring partners?
Yeah.
I think Boots not the same as Terence Crawford, right? But I think he has athleticism, and he's a switcher, and he'll kind of go off for the playbook to do his thing. I think mind state-wise, I think Boots is a big help. The guys that Crawford got in there, because
Mr. Martinez cracking.
no, he punching. That's what I'm saying. It's like, I feel like, bro, I don't know who got the best of that.
You ever seen Darrell Valsaint?
I have. You know, I'm a Haitian boy, so you know what I'm saying? But it's just hard. It's hard to, man, I just think the sparring for this fight is elite on both sides. I think that they both taking each other seriously. You could tell that by the sparring partners that they brought in. And I'm just kind of anxious to see the fight. Like, going into the fight, I just didn't like the fact that Terence Crawford had to go up 2 weight classes. I just didn't really like that. I mean, being honest, as a black boxing fan, when I take my coaching hat off, like, no, I don't want to see our best fighter have to go up 2 weight classes. I don't like that. But you think about it and you like, well, look, first of all, I don't want to deny that man. I wouldn't want to say nothing or even have it in my heart to deny that man that kind of financial like blessing that he gonna get from fighting Canelo. Not only that, he chasing greatness.
This comparison underlined the critical role sparring plays in shaping fighters ahead of historic matchups. Bay made it clear that he does not like the idea of Crawford moving up 2 weight divisions to meet Canelo. In his view, Crawford has already accomplished enough to be celebrated as one of the greats of this generation. He is undefeated, holds world titles across multiple divisions, and has earned widespread respect for his dominance and skill. Taking on a fight with a weight and size difference is so extreme adds unnecessary risk to his legacy.
The opponents that he is been in with, he's come up short against a couple, but he's come through some big challenges as well through his, 65, 66 professional bouts since he was 15 years of age. There's no doubt that this is the biggest test of Terence Crawford's career, not only because of the weight step up, but also because of the level of the opponent. But anybody that's watched Terence Crawford's career knows full well how much talent this young man has. I mean, he is absolutely sensational, both as an orthodox and as a southpaw fighter. You can't really tell which is his favoured side. He's that good, the angles that he creates, and the way that he not only dissects people, but the way that he puts his foot down when he gets somebody hurt is
he's spiteful.
He's truly, truly impressive.
But what he also does, and this is where I think people are making the mistake with the fight with Israel Madrimov last summer in Los Angeles, was that Terence doesn't mind doing enough to win. He doesn't, if he knows he's got to win on points, he's happy to tuck everything neatly in the office and win round by round. It reminds me of Floyd Mayweather. It reminds me of Pernell Whitaker. It reminds me of guys that win with ease without overstretching themselves, that don't have to get in a battle. But when he's got someone hurt, as you rightly say, he's spiteful. I'm not sure he'll get Canelo hurt in this fight. But if his timing and his movement are on, the slightly slowed Canelo, who likes to load up these days, could find himself frustrated by Terence Crawford.
Yeah, and there's also the aspect of when he is behind. I mean, we've all seen that famous clip where he's fighting Sean Porter. Somebody sells him ringside. They've got him down on the cards. He goes through the gears and stops Sean Porter in the very next round. There's also that element to him. He's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant, but he's also fighting someone that's equally as brilliant. A very different type of style.
Bay stressed that fans already love Crawford for what he's achieved, and the decision to face Canelo is not something he needs to prove greatness. Instead, he sees this as a gamble that may expose Crawford to disadvantages outside of his natural range. British journalist Gareth A. Davies offers a perspective that frames the Crawford versus Canelo bout as a potential defining moment in boxing history. According to Davies, Crawford stepping into the ring with a larger and more established superstar like Canelo Alvarez is not simply a fight. It is an opportunity to cement his place among the all-time greats.
But in case you didn't really understand what he was saying, Canelo is saying there's a difference between boxing, like being a boxer, and moving, and then you throw some punches. Ush, 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 ush. Like, you getting some punches in there. Then you, like, take a lap. Ush. Then you get some more punches. Right? And I agree with that. I agree. Like, my thing is this. If you know my channel, I've been doing this from way back. We go back like cornrows. I have never really been big on this whole, like, running language. Like, I don't, because you got to understand, old media, they were the ones that came out with this whole running charade. And I don't like it because it was initially used to, like, maim and marginalize oftentimes black fighters and Cuban fighters. When non-black, non-Cuban fighters would face certain black fighters or Cuban fighters primarily, they would get hit with this, like, oh, he ran moniker. And the reason you know it was racially motivated is because if you actually know boxing and you watch the fight, that's not even what was happening in the fights where they would claim that oftentimes a black fighter or Cuban fighter ran. Like Erislandy Lara versus Canelo. I thought Lara won the fight with Canelo. And Lara was doing some very good work. Canelo started doing some good.
He emphasizes that every legendary fighter reaches a moment where their skill, courage, and ambition are tested. And for Crawford, this matchup could be that pivotal point. Davies points out that by taking on Canelo, Crawford has a chance to silence critics who question the depth and breadth of his career accomplishments. The fight, in his view, goes beyond the simple metrics of weight and size. It is fundamentally about legacy and how a champion is remembered.
Man, like, a lot of people is making a fuss about Crawford being out of the ring for over a year, you know. I'm not putting too much stock into that, man. I'm not really, you know. Floyd Mayweather's came back from after a year. Shoot, I remember John Jones, 3 years out of the game, you know. And I know it's a different sport, but it's still combat sports. 3 years out of the game, came back, faced the champion, beat him, beat the champion, you know. Crawford took the time to really build his body up, man, the way he needed to build it up. And I like his build because just looking at pictures and stuff like that, man, he put a lot of the weight on his legs, you know. That's going to help with stability. That's going to help with punching power. It's going to help with his ability to be able to take a shot, too. You know, he get razzled and dazzled in there from one of them big shots from Canelo. You know, he gonna have some stability. He gonna have a base to be able to keep himself up. You know, I always say, partly to be able to take a punch. I say, you know, it's a lot to do with physical. It also has a lot to do with mental, and it also has a lot to do with genetics. Some guys can take it more than others. That's just it. Some guys can take it more than others, man. But, you know, I would say we all feel like the same thing when we do get hit with a big shot. You know, you hear that ringing in your ears. You know, that's your brain bouncing around off that skull. You know, bouncing around off that skull. You know, some part of you get numb. you know, especially if it's a big shot. You know, your legs might get numb, your arm might get numb. You know, I remember when I got knocked on my behind against Kendall Holt, man, my
Davies acknowledges the enormous risk involved, recognizing that a misstep could tarnish an otherwise flawless record. Yet, he also highlights that these are precisely the types of challenges that elevate champions into icons, fighters whose careers are defined not just by victories, but by the courage to take on the toughest possible tests.